The Years of Lead was a period of socio-political turmoil in Italy from the late 60s to the early 80s. Unprecedented acts of terrorism were carried out by members of far-right and far-left groups. 2,000 people were injured and more than 400 were killed in terrorist action between 1969 and 1986. At the end of the 60s, some of the Italian people decided that the country was doomed. Left-wing extremist groups, most notably the Red Brigades, performed a series of terror attacks against anti-worker officials like policemen, journalists and judges, while their polar opposite, right-wing opponents bombed civilians in an attempt to bring back the glory days of Mussolini. The conflicts of these decades lacerated Italian society and have been depicted in many recent literary and filmic works. Mio fratello è figlio unico, known in English as My Brother is an Only Child, is a 2007 film about two siblings during the Years of Lead that join different political factions and instigate a tense rivalry that reflects Italian society of the time. Accio is the younger brother who, after being denied the freedom to choose what to do with his life, finds a place within the MSI, a neo-fascist political party which came into existence after the war. The film doesn't paint any of the characters as entirely positive or negative. Each character resides within a realistic grey zone. The film provides us with motives for each of the characters, and we are able to understand to some degree what leads these people to think their thoughts and act their actions. The film is important as it depicts the fascists in a sympathising light. Many Italian films that deal with neo-fascism in earlier decades depict the ideology as an evil, separate from human emotion, whereas in this film we see the people behind the masks and see that they genuinely believe that what they are doing is right for themselves and for their country. The Meglio Gioventù, or The Best of Youth, depicts another side of the struggles experienced in the Years of Lead. The film follows two brothers over 40 years starting in the 1960s. One of the brothers, Matteo, becomes a police officer, while, for a period of time, the other, Nicola, becomes a part of a left-wing group. Nicola, however, doesn't stray too far into extremism, but the real divide appears when his partner, Giulia, becomes an assassin for the communist extremist group, the Red Brigades, breaking apart their family and showing the true cost that these events had on the lives of individuals. The Red Brigade's mission was to destroy the modern way of living in order to build the society of the just. They dreamt of a perfect Marxist society which, the Red Brigades were convinced, could only be achieved through terrorism and bloodshed. As the film takes place over a long period of time, we are able to see Giulia slowly descend from mostly innocent protests down through to extremism. She causes a rift that separates her from her partner and her daughter. The film tackles the personal effects that these extremist groups had on the Italian people and shows how a relatively normal individual became radicalized in a toxic political climate. Many Italians still struggle to understand how their country became so violent during the Years of Lead. The conflict fizzled out, but there was never any real closure, which helps to explain Italians' continued fascination with these times. The random slaughter that was suffered, and the continued presence of some of these radicalized groups is a brutal reminder of what happened. Films help the public to understand these events through specific lenses. These contemporary films show the sane reasoning of radicalized individuals involved in these groups, and through depicting it with all sides of the argument, help the public to distance themselves from any radical ideologies still present in Italian society.